Welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Brandon, and today we're looking at the dual standby package, the dual laners going into the top end with the StockSoul. So starting off here at 0, we're just trying to play a 0 lineup that's going to allow us to be able to get our dual laners package in play and try to keep as many resources as possible. So I start off with the coin flip that will potentially allow us to plus it back to hand to allow us to be able to keep going forward. I'm playing against the sim. This is just a simulated AI. Obviously it fails there, but it allows us to be able to effectively kind of see generically what would it look like against just a vanilla kind of board. And I think that this deck actually has a lot of potential with it. I think it has a lot of potential that it can do with it. The coin flip fails, and then we're on to turn 1. We're still at 0, so we're still pretty good for where we need to be. We have a bunch of different resources that we can play. We have a bunch of zeros in hand. We have the standbys as well. And it looks like we're going to be able to win on some board here too. So we are looking pretty well for where we need to be here. With that in mind, the big thing we're trying to do here is we're trying to build up resources, trying to build up hand, trying to build up stock. Stock is really going to come in towards that mid to late game part, but here, I'm just looking for playables. We're able to get the 1-0 in the back row already, so even if we don't get into level 1 next turn, we have one of the dual laners already online. That's why we want the standby package, is to be able to get some of these pieces in as early as possible. Now, with that in mind, I also have the coin flip and the JC on field here. Realistically, one or the other is probably going to be around, but not both. Whether the coin flip hits or whether it doesn't. In this case, it doesn't. So I could potentially just get to the coin flip to hand with the JC effect here, which I'm going to do, I believe. So I do hit one. I have red in hand. I see the level 1 as well, so I'm like debating, do I actually clock the red or do I clock the blue? I have the red in hand, so that's perfect level fodder for what we need to do here. I get the red in hand, perfect, exactly. Another, again, fodder for what we need to do into clock. And I even already have red, so everything's fine. We're exactly where we need to be. I have the dual laners. We are pretty well set for where we need to go. I have another standby to be able to get the 2-1 in the back row from the waiting room. And I can use this to be able to get the minus power. So now I'm winning board in 2 lanes. And I can step over it and filter out one of the additional climaxes that I don't need or the early plays. So I can play the climax, standby over the back row piece if I'm going to be triggering standby. So I have some decent places here ready to go. 6 cards in hand, going to be going into 7 stock after 2 turns, 3 turns. We're looking pretty good here. Sitting 7k defensively as well is actually a decent number against a lot of sets. 7k is kind of that threshold that a lot of sets are going to be running into here. I am losing board here, but I can recur this board relatively quickly too, and I already have another dual laners thing in play. I'm about to go into 2, so I'm already part of the way there. Game's moving pretty quick, but I have a lot of these resources ready to go. So I elect to only do the 1 dual laners because realistically, I already have a bunch of stock already. I'm just going to try to get compression here and try to compress the deck as much as possible without filtering beyond what I already am. So 5 out of 23 could be a lot worse, but I also can just play climaxes and push soul here, right? So stock charge and the ability to rearrange. I put the climax to the top here because I want to try to stick a little bit more damage here in a minute. So with the first swing, Perfect. Level 3 already in play. So as early as next turn, I can be playing the combo to be ready to go. My hand size is a little short for the combo at the moment, but at the same time, you can probably generate enough of those resources here pretty quickly to make it worthwhile. Notably, they're still at 1, so it's like the game's moving pretty quickly on my end, but at the same time, I have some of the different things here ready to go. So like it's perfectly fine for where things are. I can use the cherry to mill through the deck just a little bit quicker. And try to help get us to where we need to be here. I have the only target, so grab that to hand. It's a decent tool to try to push the close here, if I want to push close here, or if I'm going to try to heal down. Debate a little heavily as to what I'm actually going to do here. And so I figure I'm going to pay out the climax, see what's going to go on, see what the deck looks like. Like I still have a lot of stuff in the deck yet to go. A couple different ways I can take this. So I decided I need the more resources, and I'm just going to take the heal here as well. Try to pay out another climax, so that way I'm not crazy on climaxes here, because I'm about to blind stock the rest of them. Like I'm going to be 3 and 23 going back into this next deck. Not great, but at the same time, able to try to get some more resources going forward for that, because I do need another character in hand if I'm going to actually try to do the combo, which I don't have currently. Like I have technically two combos, or I could technically do one combo here, but the resources needed for it are not quite there, and I don't necessarily want to push them into higher levels and lose the board advantage that I'm going to have here. So I don't want to push them to 3 so that way they turn around and do their closing turn. I want to be able to get them from 2. So I'm kind of trying to slow game it here a little bit. So 3 out of 18. Looking to see what that looks like. Technically, there's an initial blind stock in there, but 3 out of 18 is about what I expect here. Even with all of the damage here, I do get the cancel here to be able to go into this next turn. I have the room to clock here to be able to kind of try to play into whatever this next turn looks like. So I recognize I don't have a lot of time left here. I do brainstorm and hit, so I am able to get at least another card to replace the card I played down stage. And so looks like I'm going with double combo, which is about what I expect here. 5 out of, yeah, this deck is in about the right spot where I could be. I could also, I have the cards in hand that I need for the double combo. So that's part of the reason why I also don't play the half Fumio here, is because of that as well. Knowing that I don't have the additional card in hand to make that happen. So going in, now they're, after one land a combo, they're 2-4. Going to stick in 4 here, which is actually really helpful. Allowed to be able to close out the game here. Now I only need 2 out of the 3 attacks here to be able to stick. And first one sticks, second one cancels, and then the swing, overswing here for 4. So it's a little more risky here, because they are decently compressed still, and it's able to close out the game. So closed out from 2-0 with just double combo, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of reminiscent of the Gura effect, right? The Gura is able to close out from such a wide range here. Should be interesting to see what this looks like. I did get a little bit lucky here in this matchup here, being able to take as many damages as I did on the relatively decent compressed deck, but I think that this deck actually has the potential to be able to pull off triple combo and close from that threat range a little bit more consistently too. Like, you have the tools, you have the resources. It's just a matter of whether or not you put it together. So like I think the pieces are here. I think the tools are here, and I think especially that kind of fine tooth comb, you're able to make that happen. I know I've been able to pull it off several times, and it high rolls well. I also think it's a really big key as to when you bring on the 2-1 as when you're doing your blind stock, because it is a forced effect. You are forced to blind stock here when you do that. So like timing out when you want the blind stock, you really want the blind stock right before your final turn. So just kind of timing that out, I think, is the biggest thing. Otherwise, yeah, that's been the deck. We're going to have Clock Talk on Tuesday, and then more videos coming out. So thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube thing, and we'll catch you next time.